Good morning. How are you guys? We're going to do our yin yoga routine and we will start in Savasana. Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. We're going to set our intention for this practice today. Focus on what you want to bring into your life and what you're needing to let go of in order to allow that shift and change. We will remain in the corpse pose or savasana while setting intentions. Your intention can be anything from that you want to have a nice yoga routine workout to you're trying to change the world, right? We're going to prepare to do 5 deep belly breaths with your hands on your tummy like you're filling a balloon with air or you're 9 months pregnant. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth 5 times. And we will continue to remain in corpse pose for another minute. What do you want to cultivate into your life and what do you want to eliminate? After that, we're going to rotate the neck slowly to the right side, head and neck, looking over the right shoulder. Then back to neutral, and then looking over the left shoulder. And back to neutral. Stretch out long, hands overhead, and then hug your right knee for several breaths. You can engage that foot, flex your heel, rotate your ankle, point your toe. We're going to continue hugging that knee, paying close attention to the micro movements and the compression in your right hip socket. Then reach for your strap, getting the canvas to go across the ball of your right foot. And then straighten out that leg. You can pull that leg a little closer to your chest and hold it there. You can bend the knee a little if you like, straighten it. A little bit of bending, a little bit of straightening. Whatever it is your body needs. Then we're going to bring that leg out to the right side with the strap or without if you like. for a half straddle. Then set the strap aside, lower your right leg back down on the mat. Switching legs, hug in your left knee. Again, engage the foot and ankle by flexing your heel, pointing your toes, rotating your ankle. We'll continue hugging that left knee tightly. Again, paying attention to the micro movements and focusing on the compression. And then pick up your strap again, place the canvas across the ball of your left foot, straightening that leg out, holding it there. Again, you can bend the knee slightly if you wish. You can straighten it, a little bit of both. And then pull that leg just a little closer to your chest. And then we're going to hold that left leg out to the left side with or without the strap for that half straddle on the left thigh. Feel that stretch. And then set your strap aside and lower that left leg back down to the mat. Both legs are out straight, stretching long arms up overhead. And then hug both of your knees tightly. Continuing to hold your right knee, lower the left leg down to the mat. And then maybe with a bolster or a pillow or both, you can place that right knee onto the left side of your body for the supine twist. Arms are in a T. We're going to stay in the supine twist, keeping your drishti out over your right fingertips. You have the option to use your left hand to apply light pressure to your right knee if you wish. Enjoy that stretch through your rib cage, your hip, and your thigh. That nice twist. Slowly turn your head to look over the left shoulder, the opposite side, for 2 full breaths. Then slowly turn the head and neck back to be looking over the right shoulder again. And back to neutral. Lower the right leg back to the floor, hugging in both of your knees together, head and neck towards the knees, rocking and rolling. And then lowering your right leg to the floor while continuing to hug your left knee. Bring the left knee across your body to place it on the floor on the right side, again with a bolster or a pillow or both. We're going to get into the supine twist, on the other side. Arms are in a T. We're going to hold this pose, keeping your gaze out over your left fingertips. Using your right hand, you can apply light pressure to the left knee at any point in time. When you're ready, slowly turn your head and neck to the right. Hold it there for 2 breaths, looking over your right shoulder. And then slowly turning your head and neck back towards the left, looking over the left shoulder and fingertips once again. And then back to neutral. Lower the left leg down to the floor, coming out of the twist. Hug both knees again, stretching the neck, rotating the ankles, engaging the feet, flexing the heels, pointing the toes. And now we're going to get into the butterfly. Reclined butterfly, you may want to bolster under your knees. Arms are down by your sides. Hands facing the sky. Palms facing the sky, surrendering to your practice. Slowly glide your arms out to the sides, arching them overhead in a half moon to the steeple grip. We're going to hold in that steeple grip while in reclined butterfly. Then glide your arms back down to your sides again, like butterfly wings flapping down. Palms again are facing up. And then slowly flapping those butterfly wings. Bring your arms back up overhead, touching fingertips to each other. With your arms overhead outstretched, fingers and thumbs touching, stay in the butterfly pose for another breath. You can remove the bolster here if you have one. And then we're going to do a reclined tree pose on each side. First, straighten out your left leg and keep the sole of your right foot against the inseam of your left leg, above the knee if you can. Pray your hands overhead and holding this for several breaths. Then simply switch sides, straightening out your right leg, placing the sole of your left foot to the inseam of your right leg above the knee. Arms in prayer hands overhead or branching arms out, goalpost arms, steeple grip, yogi's choice. And then reach for your strap and get it across the balls of both feet for legs up the wall. Knees can be straight or bent slightly. You can pedal your knees out, rock, wiggle, anything you wish. Continue to keep your left foot in the strap on the ball of your foot and take your right foot, place it across your left thigh for reclined pigeon. We're going to hold this. You can bend the left knee slightly, or you have the option of keeping it straight, or some of each, straightening and bending. Then switch out the feet, getting your right foot back into that strap, removing your left foot and placing the left foot across your right thigh for the reclined pigeon on the other side. We're going to hold this stretch. Again, you have the option to bend the knee, straighten it, or a little bit of both. Then you can set the strap aside as you come out of this position. Lay flat for 3 honey bumblebee breaths. We'll have our 3 fingers on our eyes, thumbs on your ear cartilage, index finger, middle finger, ring finger over your closed eyes. Pressing your thumbs down on the tragus, closing off the airway to your ears, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. We're going to hum low pitch 3 times as we breathe out. After that, slowly turn yourself over to the left or to the right. You can flip yourself over to lay prone on your front side. Rest your head on your hands laying on top of one another. We're going to rest here momentarily as we prepare for another twist. Come up onto your elbows and forearms into a sphinx. And then hike your right knee up to the right side with your right arm out in front of you. And with your left arm, you can thread the needle. Making any adjustments for this supine twist you need as you get into this pose once again. You are welcome to simply place your right hand on your right hip, or if you want, you can straighten that right arm out and try to lay it flat on the ground with both shoulders flat, or just keep the right hand on the right hip. At any point, you can use your left hand to apply a slight pressure to your right knee, keeping your gaze out over your right shoulder. Feel the difference from the last supine twist, having gotten into this pose from an entirely different series of prompts and directives. Also, notice the similarities along with those differences. When you are ready to come out of this twist, you can again rest your head on your hands, laying them on top of one another. And then with bent knees, we're going to windshield wiper the feet and calves, gliding them back and forth. Then slow that down and lower those feet back down to the mat, coming back up onto your forearms, elbows, and hands into the Sphinx pose once more. Then hike the left knee up to the left side with your left arm out in front of you. Thread your right arm through the needle. Then you can place your left hand on your left hip, same as the other side. You can adjust yourself so that both shoulders and arms are flat on the ground in a T, or simply keep your left hand on your left hip. Again, you've got the option to apply a light pressure with the right hand, if you wish, onto your left knee. Your drishti is over your left shoulder. We're going to hold this supine twist. Again, enjoy that stretch. Again, pay attention to the similarities and the differences from the last time you were in the supine twist a moment ago, or even just the similarities and the differences from the one side to the other side. When you come out of the twist, rest your head on your hands again. And in an exaggerated motion this time, really windshield wiper those feet and knees, loosening the hips out too. Slow that down and lower the feet to the ground. And then we're going to send the hips back towards the feet, getting into a wide knee child's pose. You can use a block, a bolster, or a pillow to rest your head or torso on. We're going to hold this pose, really relaxing the torso, ragdolling your upper body, allowing the gravity to do the work for you. Notice that stretch in your low back. It feels so good. Lean into it. When you're done, you can remove the prop if you have one. Coming into tabletop and then back into Sphinx. On your elbows and forearms again, this time spreading your hands and your fingers out as wide as you can, holding that Sphinx pose tall before turning your right forearm to be parallel with the top of your mat. Reach for your left foot with your left hand and hold this half bow for several breaths. If you feel compelled, you can try to get your right foot into your right hand as well for a full bow, if that's in your practice. Let go of the foot or feet and rest your head on your hands again, one hand atop of the other, and windshield wipering those feet, loosening out those hips, then lowering the feet back down to the mat, and the same thing on the other side. Come into Sphinx, spreading your hands and fingers out as wide as you can, sitting tall, and then turning the left forearm to be parallel with the top of the mat. Reaching your right hand back to hold your right foot, engaging in the half bow for several breaths. And like on the other side, you have the option of trying to get your left hand to your left foot simultaneously for the full bow effect. It's a tough one. You got to work your way up to that. So it's just an option for anyone who wants to try that. Then when letting go, both feet are back on the mat. And again, send your hips back to the feet into child's pose. Sitting on your feet, you can rest your head on a block. We're going to be here for a minute. Feel that stretch in the child's pose. Retreat and enjoy. Then we're going to walk or slide the fingers to the right edge of the mat, reaching for the right corner of the mat, feeling the stretch across your lower left ribs. Then sliding or walking the hands and fingers back to neutral. And slide or walk the hands and fingers to the left edge of the mat, reaching for the left corner. Again, focusing on the extension in your lower right ribs. And then glide or walk your hands and fingers back to neutral. We're going to slowly push ourselves up into hero's pose, pausing here. It's a very simple pose, but very challenging for many. Breathe into it. If you need a block under your bum, you're welcome to try that, but we'll only be here momentarily. And then we're going to get the legs out around in front of you for staff pose, We'll stack pillows and props on top of the legs. We're going to pile up the props so that you can ragdoll your upper body over the legs, resting your torso on the props. Alternatively to this, you can use the strap on the balls of your feet for the same type of effect. We're going to hold this for an extended period. Really lean into it. Just letting go. Envision tilting your hips slightly towards your feet, towards your toes. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. Focus on easing your weight forward, trusting the gravitational pull to completely support you. It's important in yin yoga to not push yourself to your maximum stretch capacity, but just to find that edge and then back off slightly. As that edge changes, you can readjust yourself, reposition yourself. Even when you're holding still, you're in a constant state of motion. Breathing into it. Allowing the oxygen to maximize into your blood and into your muscles. Allowing the fascia to loosen and relax. And this is what makes it so rejuvenating. Now, when we're done with that, we're going to remove the props. Keep the left leg stretched out long and bring the right foot to the inseam of the left thigh. Reaching for the left toes with your left hand, maybe your right hand too. Holding for several breaths. Your left toes might be in your left hand and your right hand might be stretching over that foot. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. And then coming up to neutral, we're going to stretch out into a wide straddle, leaning forward for a couple of breaths. Before we switch it out to the other side, left foot to the inner right thigh, reaching for those right toes with the right hand. Holding this side for several more breaths. And then coming back to neutral, again, stretching both legs out to a wide straddle, leaning forward, reaching out in front of you or resting your forehead on two blocks stacked. We're going to hold for several breaths. And then come into a seated butterfly, holding the soles of your feet together with both hands, pushing the knees with the weight of your knees towards the floor, bending your head and neck towards your feet before rising your head slowly to neutral. We're going to twist the head from side to side, head and neck to the right, then neutral, then to the left, and back to neutral. Stretch the neck forward, down, rolling it out in small movements at first. You can turn your head back and forth like you're indicating a no. You can nod your head up and down as if you're acknowledging yes. If you're comfortable with it, you can do a full circle rotation to one direction and then the other direction. And then bring your head to neutral, sitting up before you shift into easy pose. Then drop your right ear to your right shoulder. You have an option here to use a light pressure with your right fingertips on top of your head. If you want, you can move the head slightly back and forth to massage out the neck muscles. And then head and neck back to neutral before dropping your left ear to your left shoulder. Again, with that slight pressure with your left fingertips if you wish. And moving the head and neck slightly back and forth. And then back to neutral. Again, turn your head slowly from side to side, first to the right, and then neutral, to the left, and then back to neutral again. And now we're going to bring ourselves into that wide straddle once more, leaning forward. You may want to use the blocks in front of you, stacked on top of each other, to rest your forehead on again. And we're going to hold this for an extended period. Really lean into this. Trust gravity. Trust gravity to take care of you, to keep you safe, to protect you, to give you what it is that you need as you lean into this straddle stretch. And then you can pick up the blocks in each of your hands and reach them over to the left foot, placing the blocks on either side of the foot. You can rest your hands on each of the blocks, reaching for your toes. We'll hold this here. Breathing into it. Then pick up each of the blocks and place them on either side of the right foot, reaching for your toes, or again, resting your hands on the blocks. And then come back to neutral. Our next pose will be bending the right knee over the left leg, extended out straight. Twisting to the right, gazing to the back of the room. Right hand or fist is on the floor behind you. Your arm is supporting your torso. Using your left elbow to leverage on the right knee. Slowly turn your gaze as far to that back wall as you can. Over your right shoulder. Slowly and carefully turn your gaze to neutral, your head and neck to neutral, and then over the left shoulder. Hold that for 2 breaths. And then slowly returning your head and your neck and your gaze to neutral. And again towards the back of the room, all while leveraging the left elbow on the right knee. Then head and neck back to neutral. Coming out of the twist, simply switch sides. Bend the left knee over the right leg extending out straight. Left hand or fist on the floor behind you, gazing over the left shoulder towards the back of the room. Leveraging your right arm against the left knee. Enjoy that twist. Keeping your drishti as far over your left shoulder as you can on that back wall. Slowly turn your head and neck to neutral. And then over the right shoulder. Keeping your gaze as far over your right shoulder as you can. And then your head and neck back to neutral. And then slowly returning your drishti to the back of the room over your left shoulder, looking back as far as you can. Continuing to leverage the right elbow on the left knee. And then we'll get the head and neck back to neutral. Coming out of this twist, we'll get into butterfly, holding the soles of the feet together, pressing those knees towards the floor, bending the head and neck forward. And then we're going to raise the head and neck up as if there were a string being pulled from the top of your skull from above. Sitting up tall, slowly turn the head to the right. Head and neck back to neutral. And then head and neck to the left. And then back to neutral. And now we're going to get into Lord of the Fish, bending the right knee over the left knee that is also bent for cow face. Holding each of your feet with each of your hands. And then twisting to the right. Right arm is back, left elbow leverages against that right knee. Looking to the back of the room, we're going to hold this. You can have your hand in a fist behind you or fingers on the floor, palm on the mat. Just leveraging that elbow against the knee. And then slowly we're going to turn the head and the neck to neutral. Keep going all the way, looking over the left shoulder as far as you can. And then turning the head and neck back to neutral. Back over the right shoulder. And then back to neutral. Coming out of this twist, we'll straighten both legs out in front for staff pose. Reaching your arms out to the sides and then arching them in the half moon up towards the sky. Interlacing your fingers and then turning your hands outward, reaching up tall for 2 full breaths. Then bend forward, reaching for your toes. Come up to neutral and prepare to switch legs for cow face on the other side. Left knee is over the right bent knee, holding both feet in each of your hands. Before then twisting to the left, your right arm leveraging against the left knee. Looking over your left shoulder to the back of the room, your left fist or hand is on the floor behind you. Then you're going to turn the gaze, head and neck to neutral. Keep turning head and neck and your gaze all the way over the right shoulder. Slowly returning head and neck to neutral. Then back over the left shoulder to look towards the back of the room once again. And then head and neck back to neutral. Coming out of this twist, we'll return to staff pose. Again, reaching arms out wide, legs out front, making a half moon arch and touching the hands overhead, then reaching for your toes. As you come up to neutral, transition into easy pose. Reach your arms out to the sides, up again for half moon arch, touching your hands together for prayer hands before getting into cactus arms, preparing for eagle arms. From cactus or goalpost, arms together with right elbow over the left elbow. Your hands together, pushing your elbows slightly up and bending your head and neck down. And then slowly moving your head and your neck and your arms up as you're looking towards the ceiling, leaning your head back slightly while pushing your eagle arms towards the sky. And then coming to neutral, you can unpretzel yourself, reaching the arms back out wide, arching them up in another half moon, touching hands together overhead, then back to cactus, and again, eagle arms with the left elbow over the right elbow, pushing the elbows up slightly and bending the neck and head down. And then slowly looking up as high as possible and leaning the head back slightly, pushing the elbows up towards the ceiling. And then neutral, we will unpretzel ourselves again and stretch the arms out wide to the sides, reaching out and up, bringing them overhead in another half moon arch to steeple grip, sitting tall. Then leaning towards the right thigh at about the 2 o'clock position. Glide your torso across the front of your legs, over towards your left thigh. Stopping at about the 10 o'clock mark. Then slowly gliding your torso back to the right to that 2 o'clock pose before coming straight up again. Holding the steeple grip for several breaths before letting go. And then lay down on your back, planting both feet on the floor, knees bent. You'll probably want to hold a block or a pillow between the knees, maybe another on each side of you. Allow your knees to fall to the right. Hold this stretch for about a minute. Arms are in a T, focusing your gaze over your left fingertips.